your captain's log.
Right, well,
Yeah,
a log,
journal, yeah.
right? So
Journal.
Journal.
I think,
There you go. Journal.
That's the word
Keep
you're
a
looking for.
dietary journal of when you eat certain things, how they make you feel, right?
Yep. Yep.
So there's how you look, and then there's how you feel, right? And keep a journal on how you look and how you feel, how your skin looks, how your hair looks, how your nails look, and then how you feel energy-wise, how you feel with your cognitive abilities. You know, am I having any brain fog? Am I sharper? That kind of stuff. So you know what foods you have intolerances for. You know, you may have natural intolerances for certain things, right? And you may have high sensitivity to certain things as well. So it's for you to know, right, whenever I eat such and such, I bloat. You know, I get a bit of flatulence when I eat such and such. So it could either be, now you can start to become some, you know, a form of forensic scientist, right? Where you now can say, right, is the food I'm eating, is it actually organic or wild, or is it, you know, are there fertilizers or pesticides or whatever in the, you know, if something isn't supposed to, if you eat fruits, for instance, and you're bloating, chances are they're conventionally grown with pesticides and whatnot, and it's an effect of that.
Okay.
You know.
And Dr. Hunter, just on that as well, and great question, Crystal and Bianca, I'm teaming you guys up, about the detoxing and the immune system, right? Because even, you know, prior to detoxing, you know, immune system is affected by sugar, right? Dr. Hampton, how much sugar we're eating, alcohol, and other things like that. Because, you know, as Dr. Hampton said, tonsillitis doesn't come on its own, right? It's a viral or bacterial infection that's causing that.
Right.
So at some point you were subjected or open to some bacteria or some virus, right? And so your immune system has let that in. So it could be an indication, could it not, Dr. Hampton, as well, that she needs to reinforce her immune system, you know, and that situation could have always been there. The detox has just sort of brought that out.
Right,
hey, listen,
that's why I told her about D3.
Right.
So D3 is, you know, anti-inflammatory, but it's also, it's a wonder. D3 is a wonder hormone, right? It's a wonder hormone. So when you give your body the correct resources for your D3 hormone, it's an antimicrobial, it's antimicrobial peptide. So it produces what we call cathelicidins. Cathelicidins are basically like tanks. They shoot bullets of peptides at pathogens, microbes, and encapsulates them and dissolves them. So, and it also is an anti-inflammatory, meaning in your immune response, right? In your immune system, there are pro-inflammatory cells, and D3 keeps them at bay and will deal with a situation without all the inflammation, the pain, and whatnot. So D3 is a wonder, is wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
So now, Crystal, hold on. So Bianca, you're in BritFam, aren't you? Are you Bianca Whitaker? Okay, I think I just added you to the BritFam. So Bianca, you're already in BritFam, right? In the app.
So Mr. Breaks is a full name snitch. He just put your whole name. You might as well. What's her date of birth?
I got it here. I was wait till later on in the call. I was going to crescendo, build up to that. So, guys, if you're not in the app, a great tool as well. So, Chris, I think you're in the app. I think I may have given you your badge. Was it yesterday? Did you get your I did the 14? You said this is your second time, right?
Yeah, this is my second time. Yeah, I haven't got the badge yet, but looking forward to getting it.
Okay, so message me your name and I'll put it up, and we'll get you your badge before the end of the call. I guarantee it. Make sure you get your badges, guys. You guys did the hard work. You achieved. It's a great milestone. You know, we know what the health benefits are. We know what it does for you from a health standpoint. But from an emotional standpoint and a community standpoint as well, I think it's a great idea that we share that recognition, we get the recognition, and I think it drives us on to do it again and keep going as well, because sometimes you forget, you know, we've had, I kid you not, Dr. Hampson, we've had thousands of people that have done the detox and they've just run on. They did it, then they went straight back. I mean, literally, they've done the detox, they finish on a Friday, and then by the following Friday, they're showing pictures, they're out with the hookah and the lamb chops at the barbecue.
Right.
You know, how delicious the food is. And I, you know, put my head in my hands where you just did the detox, the 14-day challenge, you know. But that's the real world. You know, a lot of people, they are so ingrained or engrossed within their lifestyle. It's their culture. Some of them, it's their livelihood. You know, I always tell the story that we had a Caribbean restaurant here, and all the staff in the restaurant did the 14 whilst they were still at work, serving jerk chicken, and every day they did the detox, and they've gone on to do other detoxes, and they've lost a lot of weight in that store, and they love it. Every time we go there, you know, I haven't paid for dumpling for I don't know how many months now, because they love us over there. But yeah, we really want you guys to keep this. It's a lifestyle change. So absolutely do the detox. Please do the detox, but then continue with those lifestyle changes going on. But
and that's another reason for these calls, right? For us to be on these calls, is that anything about your lifestyle that you want to ask about, you know, if you have any questions, all right, you know, all right, here's what I'm trying to achieve, because we want to know what your goals are, right? Once we know what your goals are, we can actually even put you onto a regimen, like a proper lifestyle regimen, that here's what you do moving forward. You know, and speaking to black women, a lot of black women want to lose weight because for some, well, and even a strange reason to me, but to you all, it's a strange reason why black women get to a certain age and then they can't keep the weight off, you know, and they're like, I've tried low calorie, I've tried doing this. It's like, okay, how many times do you eat a day? Well, I eat like 4 or 5 times, but it's only a small amount. So there's things that we have to get into about, all right, every time when you eat, you are initiating insulin, and insulin likes to store energy. It gets, you know, sugar out of the blood and that, but it stores it, parks it up somewhere. It's like, all right, go rest here. And that's a problem, because storing energy means creating fat, filling up adipocytes, fat cells. And so when your body's in that mode of storing energy, it's gonna create fat, it's gonna create that extra weight. And, you know, even when we talk about the type of exercising that you do, because you have some people that do exercise and say, all right, what exercise do you do? Oh, I do cardio. I do like 2-3 miles of cardio. And again, when you do cardio and you're doing miles and you're on a treadmill, your body goes into store energy mode. So it's going to start, storing fat for energy later. So there are different types of exercises for you to do to reach your goals. Depends on what your goals are. There's your circadian clock on when the best time for you to exercise if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to muscle tone, if you're trying to reduce blood pressure and that kind of stuff. There are specific times of day that work best for you, and specific types of exercises as well. So with lifestyle, when we talk about diet is a part of lifestyle, but lifestyle is so much more, right? And to get to your goals, we want to make sure you're following the correct lifestyle for what you're trying to achieve, because one size does not fit all.
Indeed. So what I wanted to do, and listen, Crystal, don't go anywhere. Guys, don't go anywhere. I want to hear from Bianca. Okay? I don't think Bianca's been on the call before. And she's got, you know, her sister asking questions for her, right? I know some gang thing, but Bianca, unmute your mic. We want to hear from you. What's your goal? Why are you doing the detox other than you got bullied by your sister? What was your health goal?
So my health goal was probably just to cleanse the body. Like, I've never done one of these before. So I just, like, when my sister done it, she just had loads of energy. She just said how, you know, she felt really great. So just thought, why not give it a go? Yeah. On top of that, probably just, getting more energy, the weight side of it, and just to see how I'm going to feel once I've obviously completed it.
Absolutely. And that's a great motivation, you know,
right,
and it's one of the things that I think people are most surprised about is how much energy they have. Again, the idea that they're not going to eat food is alien to most of us, right? Of course, we're raised to believe that not only do you have to eat every day, you have to have 3 meals a day at the minimum. In fact, 3 meals a day. Even prisoners are getting 3 meals, right? I'm not saying it's quality food, but it's that whole, you know, there's money behind that, but that's another conversation. You know,
I don't know, but I don't know if prison. I've never been to prison, and I don't know anybody who's been to prison.
Why are you lying?
What?
You've both been to prison, and you still get letters like, you know, flags from pigeons dropped through the window. But it's this whole thing about 3 meals a day, right? And as Dr. Amsu says, you know, people are eating these 3 meals a day. And they're mostly sugars and toxic and processed food. They're living sedentary lives, right? They're not exercising. All this insulin's being created, all this fat's being stored, all these toxins are being stored, and they don't have the mental clarity. And then they do this detox, right? Just regular people. And you can look quite fit. You can have big muscles and technically be unhealthy. You can have big muscles and have gastrointestinal issues. You could even be developing, you know, blood disorders, but you can build muscle through resistance training, right? Then they do the detox and they are blown away as to how much energy they have on day 5 and day 7. You know, we have people on the detox right now who are on day 33. Hakim, am I right? Day 33, your mum? 33 days and more energy than they've ever had. Bouncing around the place, you know, doing projects, putting up shelves, and they just can't believe it because not only do the nutrients and the supplements give your body the nutrients it needs, I'm holding it high up in the camera, not only do these supplements give your body the nutrients it needs, as you start to remove toxins and you start to pull from the fat stores, there is so much energy stored in the human body, is it not, Dr. Amsu, that how long have you been storing energy? How long does energy sort of last in the body? You know, you eat all these carbs and meats and everything for years before it starts to cause a problem and or, you know, the body has to force it out, I guess.
Well, I mean, there's energy, there are calories, and it's basically are they good or bad calories? Because
Right.
you have bad calories, which are, you know, empty calories. There's no nutritional value in them, right? There's no nutrients. And then, you know, so check this out. The body has trillions of metabolic processes going on every second.
Of course.
Right? So we have something called our resting metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate. And that is basically the energy that we burn that for our organs to function, for our body to function and communicate and everything, right? So liver function, kidney function, heart function, you know, brain function, all these things burn energy. Even when we're just, you know, you might be zombied out, you might be zoned out, whatever, but your involuntary system, there are trillions of metabolic processes that are going on every second. So we burn energy. So what stops us from dying while we're not eating is stored energy. So your adipose tissue or fat, it's an actual endocrine organ, right? And in its best functionality, that's what it does. Oh, you need energy? Here you go. Oh, you need more energy? Here you go. But when it becomes dysfunctional, now it starts to become inflammatory and causes issues around the body. It can cause normally functioning tissue and organs and cells to go against what they're supposed to do, or, you know, behave dysfunctionally. All right. So all our metabolic processes that we have, they are reliant upon the functionality of our stored energy cells, which are adipocytes, adipose tissue, right? They're also reliant upon nutrients that are carried in our blood. So there are many processes that work together, but when you have one dysfunction, there's a cascade that takes place, and that cascade can be, or that dysfunction can be caused by too much fat, lack of nutrients, or an abundance of toxins. So that's the whole point of the detox, is to get everything balanced, homeostasis.
Absolutely. Listen, again, you just started off, man. Great conversation, great questions. Thank you, Bianca and Crystal. Don't go anywhere. Stay on. I want to hear from more from you guys later on. And we now have a few hands raised up. Listen, again, if you do have questions, you can raise your hand in the app participation button. Participation. Every time I say that, I add new syllables to it.
Something in the IG as well.
We're going to get that because I think I started late. So if you have a question in the IG, please re-ask it. Just copy and paste your question again, because my system went down, so I won't see it. But just please re-ask your question. We can get to that. And for those of you in WhatsApp also, Dr. Keela, Dr. Jean, bonsoir.
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 Buenas noches. As they say, hello, good night.
Well, right.
I hope everyone is well, and if not, make sure you ask the questions of these gentlemen, because they are resource, as is Mrs. Larty. when people think of obesity, unfortunately, in Western society, and it's not just in Western society, but in a lot of societies that have been touched by Western culture, they think about lack of discipline, but it's really a resource access issue. So, like, think about the continent of Africa. I'm making an analogy, just stick with me. The continent of Africa has all the major resources that all countries need, but the people who live on the land, are indigenous to the land, have difficulty accessing their wealth. So it's hard to benefit from it. It stays stored up in the ground, which is fine, but when you need to access it fast for stressful situations, ongoing stress, or for just lifting or moving things that are heavy, or having endurance, you can't access it. It's the same with obesity. There happens a thing where your ability to, first of all, store up your wealth gets impaired, and then your ability to access your wealth also gets impaired. So you have all this wealth in the form of body fat, but you can't even access it to have energy enough to get through the day or exercise. So your body interprets it as your even though you have high energy stores, your highly metabolic tissues like your brain, your kidney, your heart, your liver interpret, and your muscles interpret it like there's not enough to go around just because you can't access it. So using food to correct that, and physical activity, exercise, whether you dance or whatnot, it helps to reset those things. And then the sun, readjusting your circadian rhythms, sleeping when you're supposed to sleep, being awake when you're supposed to be awake, also helps to reset those things. Because remember, when you're talking about being deficient in nutrients, you're also really talking about being deficient in minerals. Your hormones are out of whack, which also means at least one gland, and then some other metabolic tissue like your liver, your muscles, and even your body fat are out of whack. So it's correcting. If somebody says you have a thyroid issue, you really have a whole body issue, but the major foci of the problems are in your thyroid gland, possibly your liver, which is necessary to convert inactive thyroid hormone to active thyroid hormone. So that's why if you have thyroid issues, don't start drinking, because you're going to compound your thyroid issues. And then your body fat. So I just want people to understand, don't think of things linearly. Think of things as concentric circles and globally, because the body is its own universe.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I like the point you just made when I was speaking to my black sisters now, right? Because White Zinfandel has become a very popular, lot of black women love their wine. They love their white wine. They love their Moscato. They love their
wine.
Was it Prosecco?
Prosecco.
Prosecco.
Which is
right.
Yeah.
They have all these alcoholic drinks, right? And they have thyroid issues, and they don't realize the damage that they're doing. And they may say, right, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow and do whatever. But again, your inactive thyroid hormone is not being converted. So your metabolism, your energy, your ability to burn energy and to convert energy into, use for muscles, right? It's impeded, it's inhibited. So a lot of women start to lose muscle mass because they like to have a drink. And, thyroiditis or hypothyroidism affects women more than it does men. So even though, when you think of drinkers and alcoholics, right, you usually picture a guy, right? A bearded guy, right? A big belly bearded guy you will associate with alcoholism or drink, who drink like beer and whatnot. But again, lifestyle, not one size fits all. So a guy that drinks a lot of beer, he might be able to go and work that off, right? But with women, when it comes to your thyroid, there's something with the thyroid gland in women, right? That you are at higher risk of thyroiditis. You're at higher risk of Hashimoto's disease, which is hypothyroidism. Yeah, greater risk. And it shows in the numbers of obesity. Now, one of the things what I was touching on the other day was about how women have higher levels of craving than men. Women crave more than men. Right? So a woman might be as disciplined as a man, but she has greater cravings. The greater cravings means that she's going to want to eat, satisfy those cravings more so than a man, right? Now, it might be, I was having a discussion, Coach Aggie, you're on, right? So we was having a discussion the other day, and it was, well, maybe it's because of pregnancy and women have because they're going to be childbearing, why there's this natural craving that takes place in women, right? And I was like, nah.
They're just craving, right?
Just craving, right? But women don't burn as much energy as men either. A man's basal metabolic rate is higher than a woman's. So when you think about it, not only do women crave more, but they store more energy. So when we look at stats, it ain't because women are, they're as Dr. Keeler so eloquently put it, it's not because of lack of discipline. It's natural progression. That's all it is, right? But we are eating the wrong sources of food.
Indeed.
Right? We're eating foods that, one, we're not digesting them correctly because they're not. It ain't food, as we say. It ain't food, right? So our bodies are immediately storing that as energy. There's low nutritional value in a lot of processed foods that are out there, right? There are a lot of estrogenic pesticides that are used in produce, even for women who say, well, I don't eat any meat. I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat only a little bit of meat. But it's like, what are the substances that you actually put into your body, right? And there are a lot of things like stock cubes, right, that we cook with, right? And it adds all this great flavor to food. But they're using MSG. They're using these excitotoxins. They're using these highly addictive substances, right? That right now we're seeing a phenomena across the world, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there, Mikey.
Go there, then. Gonna see
right?
what happens. I'm gonna dump
We're
that
witnessing before our very eyes the transgenderism of a whole generation, where sexual orientation is topsy-turvy. And this ain't me just talking a bunch of shit, people. I'm not chatting shit. There's a plethora of white papers that discuss about these toxins, these substances that are being ingested and the effect they have on sexual orientation, right? And sexual identity, on attraction, sexual attraction, on the, on our mental state, whether we're depressed or anxious or not, right? So we're seeing this explosion, and nobody wants to discuss it because there's so many people affected. So many people have been affected. So many, we back in our day, right? We grew up in the 80s, right? So in the 80s, you could pretty much call anybody whatever you wanted to call them and suck it up, right? Now there's more sensitivity, there's more politically correct ways to address things. But while all this is going on, there's an influx, and it's in the food. It's in the hair products. It's in the skin lotions. It's in the pesticides. It's all around us. It's in the substances that we're breathing in and have no idea, right? And somebody's going to have to talk about it. And that somebody is Mr. Briggs.
He's a funny guy. Well, listen, guys, again, look, we're not even halfway through yet, man. Great discussion, great information. Thanks for everyone joining. Those of you just joining, if you've been on the call before, you know what to do. Let us know. You can wave. Let us know in the chat you have a question. We'll come to you. Likewise with those in the IG. IG folks, please update us and ping us, letting us know you have a question. I'll try and jump across. Likewise with those on the YouTube. We're going to go straight to questions. Crystal with the C. You had your hand up. Dr. Keeley, did you have something to say quickly? Or are you just adjusting your camera? Okay. Crystal with a C, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you all?
We're doing
great, Crystal.
We can't see you, though,
Can't
so
see
we're
you, yeah.
suffering a little bit. I get this stabbing pain in my side when I don't see your camera.
I know I look bad today.
You look worse than Dr. Amsu. This is what I have to deal with every day. You know, it's like...
Oh, I have a question. I ordered the lipo and the eliminate, and I was wondering what's the. Okay, I know it says to take it 3 to 5 times a day, I believe.
Not 3 to 5. Not 3 to 5. You can do 3 to 5 if you want, but it's holding it on the tongue 3 to 5 minutes. You might be confusing that with, but it's 2 to 3 times. 2 to 3 times a day.
Right, that is right. So when is the best time to take them, though, to take the supplements?
All right. Great question. So we follow the one size fits all circadian rhythm, right? Where your body is supposed to be in a state. All right. So before you go bed is the first time, right? And that is to follow the melatonin cycle, where your body slows down, right? And melatonin is released into the bloodstream, and it allows for cells to open, for toxins to be released, and for nutrients, the nutrients that you have consumed during your evening and whatnot, during the day, for your body to assimilate, all right? So we call it the assimilation cycle, but it's also the cycle of cellular respiration, right? Where cells let in nutrients and pass out toxins. So that's the first time, right? And this is the best time to get minerals, right? To get your minerals. Then the second time is in the morning, first thing in the morning, where serotonin cycle kicks back in, and also the cortisol cycle, right? With men and with women, your testosterone also has a boost, has a kick, right? There's a boost in testosterone, right? For you to face the day and to, your what we call the yang cycle, right? Where you're going to go and burn energy, right? So you need vitamins at that point. So there's the vitamin cycle, and then there's the mineral cycle, right? The mineral cycle is at night. The vitamin cycle is during first thing in the morning, right? When your body best absorbs and makes uses of those nutrients, right? And then at any other point during the daytime, you take the third one just for, a booster.
Can we talk, Dr. Amsley, real quick, just in response to Crystal's question here? We had a really big detox campaign we ran last year, and we had so many people joining, and it was amazing how many people work night shift, right, Dr. Amsley?
Right.
We had a lot of women, strange enough, up in New York and Jersey area, where they had the mass transit systems that work.
Well, most women work night shift.
Work night shift.
They're going through their man's phone, isn't it? That's when they go through their man's phone during the night.
Then they stay up all day, right? Stalking him outside his house, yeah. But there are a lot of people who worked in opposition to their natural circadian rhythm, right? And they have so many issues. They're working night shift and they're sedentary, right? Yeah. So they're going against the sun, they're going against the moon, they're going against their natural rhythm, and they're eating at these odd times, right? Because lunch break, if you're working third shift, so if you work third shift and you start your day at 8 p.m., right? Sorry, 8 p.m., your lunch break is 1 a.m. in the morning, right? and then you're having your jerk chicken, rice and peas at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then, you know, you're drinking coffee every, 30 minutes. Then you get off of work at, 5 a.m., going home, probably trying to go to sleep or go and play video games, right? So if you consider it, when you're completely off of your cycle, right? When you're supposed to be absorbing nutrients and regenerating, you're forcing yourself to stay awake, and then you're drinking these toxins in the coffee, typically with sugar and worse, maybe some creamer,
right,
throughout the night.
Yep.
Okay, and you're working this shift for 8 years, 5 years, 13 years, and proud of it because you got the gold watch at Christmas because you're such a great employee. But you've completely screwed your body over. Right. Now, we know, and we had this conversation, that some people have to work nights, just the way the world works. And we encourage people to maybe alternate their shifts. If you have to work nights sometimes, maybe switch to a day shift. Some people are just bound by their job. And this opens up a broader conversation about how important our health is to us. Dr. Amson, we talked about the Great Migration when black people left the South and went up north. They went to Detroit to get jobs in the car industry. They went up to Michigan, the north, to get jobs in the steel industry. They went up to New York and other places like that, from Georgia, from Carolina.
Well, I mean, they were running from crackers.
Well, it was a great migration. As I say, they ran. But their freedom, their quality of life was so important that they migrated sometimes thousands of miles for this. So the question I was asking, and shoot me down if I'm overstepping the mark here, how important is your health to you? How far are you willing to go to put yourself in a better situation? Is changing a shift really too much to ask? I know what I'm saying. Is it really too much to ask?
I mean, look, what it is for lack of education, right? So there are things that we have not been taught. Then it's not taught in schools. Circadian rhythm isn't taught in school. When somebody takes on a shift, it's like, as long as you get in your 8 hours or you get close to 8 hours of sleep or rest, you'll be all right. But no, nature has cycles for us to follow. So there is nobody, and I'm going to ask Dr. Keeler because I love her analogies, right? Nature has a pattern for us to follow, and our circadian rhythm is dependent, has a symbiont relationship with the natural cycle of the day.
Of course.
Right? The natural cycle of the day. We have to be tuned in. There is nobody who does night shift works, chronically, right?
Yeah.
Who, I've been working night shift for 3 months. You're going to suffer with inflammation. You're going to have levels of depression and anxiety, even if it's not obvious to you. Your body is going to go, you have a hyperactive, hypothalamic pituitary axis, plural. So many functions of your body are going to be in disarray and dysfunctional. It's going to mess with your moods. It's going to mess with your physiology, the way how you digest food, the way how your heart rates are. Your cortisol cycle is jacked up, right? And Dr. Keeler, come in. I know you got a lot to say about this, right?
Yes. So when I was in medical school in my 3rd and 4th years, I hated doing evenings. We had call, right? And then call, I tell you, they were abusive to the students, abusive to the residents. And what I started to notice is that anytime I had to do call, which was like every 3rd night, I ended up with a lot of joint pain.
Right.
And what it is that when we're stressed, instead of our bodies handling different amino acids properly and breaking them down so that we can turn them into ammonia and then urea and then urinate them out, those amino acids start getting converted into another amino acid called xanthine. And xanthine gets converted into hypoxanthine. And that gets converted into uric acid. Now,
Gout.
in the joint,
Right.
it causes gout.
Right.
So people think you eat red meat and you drink alcohol, that causes gout. No, you can be stressed and develop gout. And being on night shift is particularly stressful because your HPA axis, your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis
right.
stays active in stress mode, fight or flight mode. So you're going to produce that much more uric acid, and you're going to experience gouty arthritis earlier and more severely over time. The other thing it does is it acts on the brain and creates anxiety. Uric acid creates an anxious pattern, electrical pattern in the brain. So we feel anxious and don't even know why. But it's the sleeping outside of your natural circadian rhythm that throws that off. And then a lot of Black women have fibroids, which is not a normal state for us. And then a lot of OBGYNs are trained, well, if fibroids, take out the uterus. You know what? Take out the whole dang thing. Take out the ovaries too. You don't ever want to take out anything the Creator put in you, because everything you have affects your mineral balance. If you don't have ovaries, you don't have estrogen. If you don't have estrogen, you can't maximally utilize calcium that vitamin D helps you absorb. And if you can't maximally absorb and utilize calcium, what happens is your brain function starts to decline. You get really moody. You're not secreting the neurotransmitters properly to regulate your mood and your thinking and your response. And also, your smooth muscle is not going to operate properly. So even if they say, oh, you had ovarian cysts, they take your ovaries. Now, guess what's going to get jacked up? It's going to be your gut. Because without estrogen, you can't absorb calcium properly, and you have a lot of smooth muscle, which is very calcium dependent in the gut. You also have a lot of smooth muscle in your uterus. Orgasms are going to be difficult. So when he and Mr. Larty, Mr. Briggs are talking about the importance of your circadian rhythms, think about it. If you're stuck on night shift or afternoons, you have a thyroid issue, and a lot of Black women have thyroid issue behind, let's be honest, generational trauma contributes to a lot of autoimmune disease.
It does.
Because the cells remember. It often comes out in the thyroid first.
Yeah. Because
that is your energy center. That's where your body draws to regulate how the rest of the body and brain, brains in fetuses are regulated by thyroid hormone. Brains in adults are not, but they're impacted indirectly by thyroid hormone. If your thyroid hormone is out of whack, you can't even use your minerals properly. And the thyroid, which depends on selenium, just like the heart depends on selenium to contract properly, is not going to they're not going to work right. So not only are you not going to make enough thyroid hormone, your heart won't even have enough selenium to regulate contraction. So you go into heart failure.
Yeah.
And then you can't even regulate activation of the thyroid hormone. Sorry, not activation, but building of the thyroid hormone if you're anemic with the heavy periods, because you need iron to help build thyroid hormone into its active form in the thyroid within the follicle itself. So you see how all these things are tied into each other. That's why having heavy menses from endometriosis, adenomyosis, PCOS, and fibroids, and then you also have a thyroid issue, and then they remove your uterus, and then they remove your ovaries, it jacks you up.
Absolutely. We talk often about the cascading issues, but very quickly, this conversation is great. We're going to come back to
it. Just very quickly as well. One of the situations that happens to a lot of women post-menopause or post-hysterectomy, take your pick, is osteoporosis because of the removal of the ovaries and the lack of estrogen, the lack of progesterone, the lack of testosterone, right? But osteoporosis, again, with estrogen being absolutely essential in osteogenesis, right? With bone formation, right? How you utilize calcium, that becomes a major issue. So a lot of women, as they get older, yes, they get more moody, right? They get more moody, but they also suffer with osteoporosis. They'll break a hip. I've fallen and I can't get up, right? that's a common occurrence with women post hysterectomy or post menopause, right? So, all right, we can move on.
No. Listen, again, these conversations are great. I got a number of questions lined up. Dr. Keeler, thank you for that. Maybe not rounding up that point, but just reminding everyone that, you know, we talk a lot about the nutrients, when to take them, but it's not just what you eat, right? We don't want everyone to think out there, if I just go and start eating salads, you know, I'm going to start springing around the place. It's, of course, what you eat, when you eat it, how you eat it, and how you spend your time, how you spend your day, how much sun you're getting. This is holistic. We're going to come back to so many of these points. Floyd, you've been waiting for a minute. You're over there showing off your new house. Is that the new 7-bedroom mansion you got over there in Jersey? What are we talking about here? I think you're on mute, Floyd.
I think that's the girl he's stalking's house.
Oh, is that what it is? He's parked outside.
I'm good. Yeah, so how you guys doing?
We're doing
great.
brother.
We're doing great,
Hi,
Floyd.
everybody. Yeah, good afternoon. Anyway, yeah, I got something. I need something. I don't know if you got something to counteract this. So this right here, as you can see it, okay, it's lisinopril.
Are you talking about a prescription? It's a prescription?
Yeah, lisinopril. That's what they're trying to tell me to take. I didn't take any of this though.
Put it into the chat. Spell it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just do that. And then
And what condition did they give you that for?
that was to the proteinuria.
Okay.
Yeah, he says to get this is to help get it out.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Floyd, is this for your blood pressure, heart conditions, circulation? What was it prescribed for?
That's right. It prescribed for the I remember
the protein. You had the protein in the urine.
Yes.
You're right.
So.
Different spelling in the chat.
I'd rather take the A out. My bad. I'm sorry.
An ACE inhibitor for blood pressure.
Yeah,
right, lisinopril is for blood pressure.
Right.
Yeah, so he said, and I know that's what they do because when I went for my results, everything is in range except for the proteinuria, and it's they gave me a outer range at 96.50H, and then the protein creatinine ratio was 602H. You got it? Let me see if you can see this.
You know what's funny is that you was holding up the sheet like you was gonna read.
Hey, our cameras are good, but not that good.
It's not that good? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, so what you can do is seriously type it into the chat, the actual prescription. The numbers you're giving us there, you know, I don't know, maybe Dr. Keeler may be familiar with some of those numbers, but, you know, more importantly, Floyd, I know we discussed this last week, and this is going to sound crazy, right? But what are you feeling? What is going on with you? Had you walked into doctor's surgery, and assuming this was at an imaginary consultation, what are you feeling? What are the symptoms that you're having? And what have they said? Because sometimes they can throw a whole bunch of numbers at you. What do those numbers mean, right?
Oh, I didn't send it yet. No, I'm not feeling anything.
Right. But they sort of abnormal level of protein in the urine, right? So then now they prescribe me drugs, right?
Yeah, I just went in for a normal checkup.
Yes.
And they checked the blood work, the urine work. That it came back with that information. So my primary care, she referred me to see a nephrologist.
Right.
So I went to I saw a nephrologist. He did the same thing.
Protein in urea is indicative of a renal issue. It might not be renal failure. It could be anything. So your referral to a nephrologist is going to be key to find out what's going on. But we do have Kidney RX, which is for your kidney, right? For your kidneys. So
I already ordered those. I got those things taking it already.
all right, good. So
I got it whole. You give me everything. 4 things you give me to take.
right.
I've been on it.
All right. So
So
continue taking those things, right? And also, what I will do is I'll put together a some form of meal plan or things to include, should I say, into your diet that are going to also help with that, and things to exclude from your diet that may be contributing. Now, have you gone full vegan, or do you still dabble in a bit of?
no, I'm vegan.
Okay.
I ain't that much.
All right. So just continue what you're doing, because here's the thing, right? Is that those issues may have been there before, right? May have been there before, but they weren't detected. So, but it doesn't. We're not saying that you're gone. But when you're detoxing, certain things can come to the forefront where you may have some sort of issue that you haven't addressed before. You see what I'm saying? So, providing your body with the correct nutrients that you can now start to remedy. Because remember, the detox is the first stage, and then reparation or remedy, to actually fix certain conditions. We've given your body the foundation to do that. So Rome was not built in a day. So don't think that, all right, I've started taking this supplement and I'm still seeing such and such. When it comes to your kidney and your liver and those, we're talking about lifetime of abuse that goes into making those organs dysfunctional.
Dr. Anderson, very quickly on that point, and Dr. Keelan, maybe even Coach Aggie may want to pipe in on this. Something I've learned in the last year or so, just, being in this space, is one of the myths I believe that, allopathic medicine, I guess promotes, maybe it's the pharmaceutical industry, maybe not the doctors themselves, is the speed at which conditions can be changed, right? And not explaining to people how long it takes to rehabilitate the gut, for example, how long it takes to rehabilitate certain organs. And, over a long period of time, you've been doing something, maybe unbeknownst to yourself, that has conditioned your body to act a certain way, to react a certain kind of way. And it can take months, years, and sometimes.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you, Floyd. Have you been on any medication for any prolonged period of time before in your life?
10 years ago, I had a stomach ulcer.
Okay.
I did a procedure. I did a endoscopy.
Mm-hmm.
They saw it. They tell me exactly what I need to do. I did it, and after I did everything, and I went right back to normal. I went back to normal to my knowledge.
All right. So the procedure, they basically cut something out, but that they didn't put you on. All right. Following your procedure, you went on to some. You must have taken some antibiotics or something.
Yeah.
No, yes, I did. The first thing they put me on was an antibiotic. I did it was like a 3-day package. I did those. I did that.
But that was a long time ago.
10 years, over 10
right,
years.
over 10 years ago. All right. So since you had that procedure, right, what was your lifestyle and diet since you had that procedure?
No, I used to party and drink hard. We used to drink hard.
You used to party hard.
Yeah, and then I've been driving for. I used to drive. My work was driving as well. And it's times when it's time for you to take a break to eat, and you wouldn't go and eat. You just continue going until you get it done.
Right.
And that's what lead up to that same also.
Right. So here's what I'm saying though, right? Never become dismayed when you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing. You may discover something that you didn't know was going on with you that you managed to catch before it gets worse. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by you taking the supplements and by you living a clean diet and a good lifestyle, you're fighting against whatever that is. So it isn't something where, all right, I'm taking this supplement, and well, why is that going on? The supplements will help you to recover from what's going on. So they're providing your body with the nutrient, with the resources your body needs in order to heal itself, because your body is always trying to heal itself. But there's a certain amount of damage that we all put on our bodies throughout our lives, our lifetimes. And sometimes we catch it early, sometimes we catch it intermediary, sometimes it's late. So it requires a lot more discipline, right? A lot more discipline. So with your situation, just keep on doing what you're doing on the right path. Just keep on doing what you're doing.
Indeed.
Okay, but my main question is this medicine right here. I put it in the chat. You saw it, right?
Yeah, we looked it up. Yeah.
That was the listen.
This is for blood pressure.
Yeah.
It's a blood pressure medication.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, because what they did when I went there for my
for the urine. So Floyd, and maybe Dr. Keeler can, I know we're going to jump to other questions, and guys, please be patient. This is a great conversation. We've got a lot of people on here. We want to try and get as many people as possible. But this is a really great conversation. And Dr. Keeler, talk to this. They've prescribed you a high blood pressure or blood thinning medication, and you went in there with some other symptoms. It means potentially they got it wrong, or maybe they've said, hold on, no, the actual root cause of what's going on with you is this blood pressure situation. Let's get that in order. And they probably told you, come back in 6 weeks or come back in a month or whatever. So they have this sort of cascading.
Kidneys play an important role in regulating blood pressure as well. But it sounds arse about face to me, though.
Potentially, right.
It sounds arse about face. Because high blood pressure, all right. We could arguably say high blood pressure can affect your kidneys, yes. But to prescribe high blood pressure medication for protein in urea, that's
we'd have to know more as to what the thinking was.
So when you go to see the nephrologist, which is not a bad look that they said, all right, go, because your GP is has some kind of general knowledge. So GPs are general practitioners. They're not fluent in all forms of medicine. They know enough to be able to probably do a bit of troubleshooting, investigation to like say it appears such and such. I recommend. And they give you an opinion and a recommendation, right? So the expert that you go to see is that nephrologist to find out, okay, what's going on? Is it an acute situation or is it a chronic situation? If you've been living a good lifestyle, it probably might be a chronic situation. I mean, an acute situation.
So Dr. Amsu, right? Now, they take my blood pressure, right? And they said my blood pressure was 143/94. That's what the nurse did when I went in. So I saw the doctor wasn't there. He was on the phone. Our nurse practitioner was there. That actually was doing was giving me the results. But the doctor was on the phone. Anyway, he said, my pressure is high. He tell me pre-hypertension. I was like, my pressure is not high. I know my body, but I'm not high. But anyway, she decided to go back and do, she said, tell him she's going to take the blood pressure manual. She did it manual in the company. When she did manual, she got 122/84. So they still prescribe this for me. So but then she was telling me that this medication is to get some of the protein out of my kidneys, right? Right now, to get the protein out of my kidney, because they said the protein level was at 602. She said they said 300 should need to come out. It's supposed to it should hold 300, whatever the term is they use for the numbers behind the numbers. So I don't know why they go ahead and do this, because she did she did check the blood pressure and it come back, it was normal. I came home and did it myself because I have my own machine and it was 122/84.
Right.
So, but I didn't take any of this.
Let Dr. Keeler chime in, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say that one of the things that when people have protein in the urine, that they will, the general practitioner will prescribe antihypertensive medication like lisinopril, which is an angiotensin receptor blocker. So let me just explain to you the logistics of what that is. So what that is to prevent is your blood vessels from going from very open to being very tight. The reason that's important is that imagine everything in the body is like electrical work in a house or plumbing in a house or a building. They're trying to lessen the pressure on this delicate sieve you have in every unit of your kidney called a glomerulus, which is a fine, well-tuned sieve. Think of like an air filter, but it's filtering your blood. You already have a filter that is allowing too much through. So by lessening the pressure lessening the blood pressure, the volume of blood that gets to the kidneys over time, they're trying to preserve your kidney filtration.